Yes, 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 we're back. You are listening to Soul Perspectives here on CKUT 90.3 FM. My name is Kym Dominique-Ferguson and I'm in studios with...
Renee Jordan.
And on the line we have a couple of folks joining us from the podcast known as Breakdown to Lowdown, which is hosted by Nicky Jean and Clarence Nicolas. Nicolas or Nicolas?
It depends. You know, with the accent, Nicolas.
Nicolas.
Nicolas. Well, no, Nicholas, man. However you wanna say it, man. I don't mind.
All right. And their show focuses on analyzing and dissecting new discovery R&B soul tracks in the first half, and in the second half of the episode, they discuss urban pop culture happenings, the bright and the not so bright ideas. Clarence and Nikki, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. How are y'all doing?
Oh man, we're good. Thank you for having us. This is exciting. First of all, I just love your vibe. I feel like I need to take ecstasy or something to match it. I need to be on some kind of drug.
Put it out there. I don't do drugs.
Disclaimer: neither do we.
The views of the guests do not represent those of the host. Yes, but yeah, thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. What we like to do in the beginning of the shows, we like to check in with our guests and see how they're doing. It is COVID times. It is coronavirus times. So how are y'all holding up with all of this madness that's going on in the world right now?
Oh man, Clarence, go ahead.
Man, to be honest, I just try to not be on social media like that and just do me, man. Like we almost seven months deep right now. Yeah, we 7 months deep into quarantine and all that. So I'm keeping myself busy, working here and there and trying to change my mind, man. We can't really see family like that, but keep in touch with the people that you care, and that's it, man. There's so much negativity out there. Like if you keep watching the news and everything, you'll turn crazy.
Yeah.
To be honest. So it's just a matter of keep your spirit high and do you.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. I would say for me, recently, in the last couple of weeks, it's definitely gotten tougher. I think I'm just really getting to my limit with this whole situation. I'm definitely ready for this to be done, but such is life. So as Clarence was saying, we keep busy and we keep pushing.
Okay, so Breakdown to Lowdown. Tell us what that is about. You guys are analyzing R&B tracks, music tracks. How did this come together?
All right, Breakdown to Lowdown.
I'm gonna let Nikki explain. She's the mastermind behind it.
Well, Breakdown to Lowdown. It's a love letter to R&B, essentially. We are big fans of music. We are people who are very passionate about it, and we get into passionate discussions about it. And one thing that I find that people don't often debate or often discuss or often even glorify is R&B. We feel like the genre sometimes it gets a bad rep, and people think hey, there's not much innovation going on in the genre. A couple of years that people were claiming that it's dead, but some new artists have kind of reinvigorated it. It's a way for us to really show people that there are still a lot of interesting things happening in the genre, not only with the newer artists, but also with some already popular artists and songs that you may not have known that they recorded. This is the discovery tracks portion, and we're kind of messy as well. So that's the whole urban pop culture part. So we have opinions, and our opinions extend further than the music. So it kind of just it gelled together and became this beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've also been feeling like R&B has been taking more of a backseat to hip hop and rap mostly now. So that it's interesting that you decided to do a show that focuses on and brings to light R&B.
Well, yeah, that's really exactly the reason. Is because hip hop has kind of taken over what it means to be urban, if for lack of
Right.
a better term, but for urban music, it's like hip hop is what Black people are, or who we are, and hip hop is great. We love it. It has become part of mainstream culture. As a matter of fact, it is the culture. But there is this other wonderful side of us that we've pushed forward and that we've innovated in, and that has and dominated the charts for many decades, that is now being often disrespected. So it's let's also talk about where this genre has gone and how it's still influencing today's music.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that could be, that R&B was sort of pushed aside and is no longer the forefront of music?
Oh, you don't want to hear my answer to that?
Yeah, we do.
I do. I really want. You know what? I have some opinions on it myself, so I'm like, I want to hear what you have to say.
I have my opinion too on it. It's just not in the forefront as before, but I feel like right now, because we talked about hip hop, if you pay attention to hip hop artists now, they singing their own hook. Usually, back in the days, they would be like, you know what, let me get Usher on the hook and all that. Let me get The Dream on the hook. Let me get Tony Braxton on the hook or whatever. But now it's like, you know what, let me do my own hook. Like that, they playing with auto-tune and all that. So you can see there's a certain influence that is still there from the R&B genre.
Yeah.
So you can't really get away from it, even though it's not pure R&B singers, but you got people like Nicky might not agree. I know Nicky's stayed up on that her opinion, but you got people like Future. It's a different type of R&B.
Oh my God,
Doug, it's a different type of R&B. I can go on and on with the list, but I don't. It's just not in the forefront, like we said, but the influence is still there.
Well, I mean, I agree with Clarence in the fact that music has kind of the genres have blurred. So that definitely has kind of shifted what is hip hop and then what is R&B. Mm-hmm. But in terms of so many R&B artists dominating the charts and then they're seeming to have a switch occur, I think that, I mean, I think it's a lot. It's related to Blue Eyed Soul a lot, with the introduction of many non-Black artists doing a similar kind of music. So if you look at the late 90s, early 2000s, and, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake era, it started to be a shift of of pop and hip hop and R&B. And it started to be oh, okay, it's kind of cool to be this way, and to Robin Thicke, to Adele, to it kind of just became if they're doing this music and it's successful, we can do it, and then we don't really need Black artists to do it. It if you look at it that way, it can kind of look like it was that. That's fine. I can do you, Jill Scott. I can do that, Tyrese. Thank you so much. And it became a shift where you look at the Ed Sheerans more than you look at the Ushers or more than you look at a Tank or somebody like that. And R&B just became kind of not relevant, just not necessary.
Right.
That's interesting that you would say that they would take these, I guess you could say, Caucasian artists, and all of a sudden there's no need for the Black music because we have this fusion happening where you have Caucasian artists that are doing a bit of everything.
Right.
But there's the other side too, regarding what Nicky just said. Yes, you might see a lot of Caucasian R&B artists out there, but backstage in the back, you still have them writers, them jacks of all trades like Terrace Martin and all that at the end of the day, the lyrics that these Caucasian R&B artists be singing, it's from them though. So they still doing their part, I feel.
And these writers, these background writers that you're talking about are Black writers.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of them. They be working on a lot of projects that
is true.
Aware of.
That is true.
How does that make you feel to see the Black writers, the ghost writer, and then the Caucasian artists to the forefront performing the song?
I mean, it's kind of like deja vu. I mean, except now it's legal technically.
Okay.
I mean, it's happened. It's happened before. We see, in the 60s and late 50s, white artists would just take this song.
Further, and even further back than that, the 30s, 40s,
even further
40s.
back.
Yeah.
Even further back. They would just take it, and then you would kind of just have to deal with it. If your song was getting traction and it was, kind of swiped up by a white artist, then, it was what it was. Yeah. But now it's like, technically, well, we're paying you for it, so that's good, right?
Right.
I suppose if the person is being paid, but I mean, is being paid really everything that is?
Exactly. That was sarcasm, by the way. Like, it's good, right? Basically. But yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, there's so much heavy racial tension and conversations going on that it can easily come off as like, here it goes again. Here goes that race card. We're playing that again. But it's like, it's not a race card. It's not a cop out if there's fact behind it. If there's a pattern behind it. If 1, 2 coincidence, maybe 3 a pattern, 4 a pattern. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
But there's a pattern, and I feel at the same time that even though through the pattern we still the blueprint.
Right.
Like, they can say whatever they want or whatever, but we still the blueprint. Like, we set the tone. Like, we set the trends. So the whole industry motto or blueprint, it's us. So.
But it's still interesting that if you somehow package it white, that it comes out differently, or it's being marketed differently. And does it add to its success? Does it take away from its success? Does it change the end product? Are we better off? Because at the same time, like, if I was out there and I was writing hit after hit after hit and then giving it to someone else to sing, they get all the accolades and maybe all the heat and all the Instagram play, and I can sit back and collect my check and I can live my life, as free as I want and out of the public eye.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's a plus. But I mean, at the same time, let's not kid ourselves with why it's easier to market certain people versus others. You know what I mean? There's also
we can say white people.
Yeah, white people.
Say certain people. It's a black radio talk show. Let's talk your talk. Talk your talk.
Right. Let's get into it if we want to get into it. But
let's go.
It's like we know who buys music mostly. I mean, if it's consistently, if you look at the numbers, who is consistently supporting their artists is white people. Mm-hmm. So a lot of white artists are like the Taylor Swifts are able to do astronomical numbers above the Beyoncés, because not like Beyonce is not a global superstar. However, for her to get the Taylor Swift or Adele numbers, there would have to be a sort of economic shift in the Black community that we have not seen. So it's like, I mean, the amount of disposable income that certain groups have above Black people is not to be ignored. Right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like there are other factors that these labels are the only thing that they're looking at. They're looking at who can pay. All right, so we're gonna please who can pay.
Yeah. But if we look right now, though, like Taylor Swift, like, okay, she's an household name and all that, but in the past, like 2-3 years, hip hop is dominating.
Yeah.
But why is hip hop dominating, Clarence?
Why are we dominating?
Because white people love it.
Yeah, facts. But like, if you pay attention to the charts, though, like, if it's not like the household name like Taylor Swift or any country singers, we know how country fans be. They support the artists, or like an old group like the Rolling Stone or whatever. Like, it's hip hop. And here and there, you can see a Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift will grab a me featuring from, I don't know, I'm just saying names like that, but Kendrick or Migos or whatever. But hip hop is dominating, to be honest. Even though it's white people, but like, yo, we out there. To the point that I remember, like, for a while, I don't know if you guys see being seen, but like Katy Perry was trying to like snatch features here and there and make some trap song, but it didn't work.
Right.
So I don't know.
I think it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when it comes to R&B, like there's something that I think we had in like maybe 20 years ago, that we had 30 years ago, that we've had 40 years ago, that was associated with R&B, the love, the connection, the intimacy that in these years I feel is sort of lost. Yeah. And I think that's where people have sort of lost touch with the R&B world, is that we're no longer in the let's do a long, like a courtship. Let me try and see what you're into. Let me try to romance you. It's more like, let me swipe and go, which flows with the hip hop scene, but doesn't really flow with the R&B scene.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think a part of that is, you know, once R&B artists started realizing, okay, you know, Robin Thicke's got this. He's doing the R&B thing. When I'm talking about love, it's not necessarily working. Hip hop influence kind of, you know, took over what became, you know, the new style of R&B, or the trap and B, or trap soul, as you want to call it. And I think a part of that, trying to conform to what was working for Black artists, which is, you know, the hip hop thing and the rap singing thing, took some of the soul out of it, took some of the love out of it. And you kind of like, and you're like, oh my gosh, like everybody's like, you know, these hoes ain't loyal. Oh my gosh, I forgot radio. You can't say that. Okay. But like, you know, it's more crude. It's less loving. I think that has to do with artists just frantically trying to figure out who they are. Like R&B artists in the 2010s started doing electronic dance music. They were like, what are we doing? And then, you know, in the late 2010s, it was like, okay, let's just all switch to hip hop. Like I remember hearing Music Soul Child in an interview saying that he was I forgot the name because it was so silly, the rap name he came up with. I wish I knew it. But he was like, yeah, like this is my new alter ego and I'm going to be rapping. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, that's not you.
Like your Music Soul Child, but he's like, yo, my music is not selling. Like I gotta do something
that sells.
Yeah.
That is hard. And I think it must be hard too. And I'm sure there's like some artists rolling around in their grave when they hear how we take and sample music. And like we'll take a song that was like the sweetest melody that, you know, people could maybe danced at their wedding to or something, and then they like chop and screw it up and put it into hip hop, and it has completely lost all the love in it, and it has become something completely different.
So just a quick Google. Music Soul Child aims to conquer rap as his new alter ego, The Hustle.
Oh no.
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
It's The Hustle?
It was The Hustle.
Husel. I suspect that it's Hustle, but it could be Husel. I have no idea.
That would be too R&B. Like The Hustle sounds more
sounds more thuggish.
Oh man.
So you've decided to sort of resurrect, if I may say resurrect, the R&B genre by putting together your podcast. So maybe we'll take a little break, and then we'll get into that a little bit to figure out how you plan to revive this.
All right.
Just in case you're tuning in for the first time, we are talking to the folks from over at Breakdown to Lowdown. We're talking to Nicky Jean and Clarence Nicolas. Keep it locked. You are listening to Soul Perspectives here on CKUT 90.3 FM.